Rethinking self-radicalisation, extreme viewpoints and outdated worldviews. Self-radicalisation is most associated in the modern context with that of terrorist, religious zealots or violent act that has been taken by an individual in the name of a particular ideology. Radicalisation is most often presented as rare and likely to affect them, not us. The reality is that radicalisation and extreme viewpoints are all around us and growing by the day. Let's unwrap the issues. Firstly, who determines normal? Baseline contextual, cultural and societal analysis is required at some point. In order to establish or identify an action or viewpoint that is at the extremes of a respective continuum, you have to understand the entire continuum. Recognize where your local community is on that continuum, then objectively consider your own placement on that continuum. That last step is essential. You may find your views are also outside of that group too. Societal context is a significant issue for public security professionals and the balance of liberties. Public sentiment and standards aren't fixed and change over time. What was normal yesterday may be seen as a fringe or minority tomorrow. The opposite holds true also. Many social actions once considered deviant or part of the minority are now accepted by society. Don't forget, much of the criminal psyche was once considered a birth affliction, which leads to lifelong criminal tendencies and deviant behaviour. Conversely, dozens of socially accepted actions in the past decade are now criminal offences or criminogenic in nature. Social norms and culture vary from location to location and community to community. Therefore, don't forget your community of origin or other locations under consideration are unlikely to be identical in their worldview and may even be at opposites. Next, we have to consider information leading to a particular worldview, perspective or ideology. Stop for a minute and consider other examples of whereby individuals and even groups have come to their own extreme or radical perspective on things. Take, for example, the flat earth movement. What about anti-vaccination beliefs? How about vegan demonstrations in Australia leading to criminal acts, widespread unrest and major transport disruptions? How did they come to these particular, extreme, misguided or incorrect views? Most of us assume the norms and customs of our nearest communities at birth and through our formative years. Proximity context means we share a religion, worldviews, education, and even politics at some point with our closest family and friends. This was the case for thousands of years. However, now consider how self-educated most of us are. The internet, online communities, blogs, videos, news, fake news, advertising, television, music, celebrities, school, Instagram, video games, and countless other direct and indirect channels are influencing and shaping our views and beliefs on an hourly basis. The outcome is our collective and individual viewpoints, beliefs, morals, and standards. Stop now and consider how much education and information you've been presented only to find out later on that it was wrong or inaccurate. This includes information and beliefs from your parents, family, and friends that you once considered beyond question. Now consider if you only consumed a particular channel of information. Imagine if that channel only presented unresearched, incorrect, racist, biased, hate-laden content over and over. It's not hard to imagine how easy and quickly you might end up with a very narrow view of the world, even one of extremism or what could be considered radical. If you came to this conclusion, especially when it comes to extreme ends of religion and political continuum, you're a self-radicalised terrorist or threat to society. Substitute the issue, message or content, and the process is scarily simple and far more prominent than just a few global murderers intent on inflicting pain and suffering on a select group or groups. You now have flat earth believers sitting next to you on the bus. You now have anti-vaccination parents on television claiming all vaccinations are evil or part of some global conspiracy theory. You now have vegans attacking cattle farmers and chaining themselves to vehicles in the middle of peak hour traffic. The process for radicalisation and extreme views are all around us and getting easier and easier to access. consumers or victims are younger and younger. Expand your view to consider that you may already be surrounded by radical and extreme views on a daily basis. They aren't terrorists and may never voice their opinions in public or hurt a soul. However, they came to these beliefs by themselves, and in some instances sought out or stumbled across fellow believers. These undeclared or less visible radical and extremists are all around us, yet rarely feature in the threat narrative or consideration of risk in our communities and environments. It's only logical that these same processes and outcomes will also give birth to violence of action, criminal pursuits, and those select murderous individuals we label as terrorists. These factors and considerations have been a growing concern for security and risk management professionals for some time. It's time our broader communities, managers and businesses understood these dynamics too. After all, our communities and businesses are made up of individuals, cultures and beliefs we bring with us, not those we adopt once we arrive at a location or office. The purpose of this education training video is to ensure we're looking at the whole picture and all the contributing factors when considering risk, rather than a simplified them and us perspective. Isn't it ironic that this narrow or curated view of the world has led to so many radicals and extremists, and yet so many people make the same broad assumptions every day? I'm Tony Ridley, International Security and Risk Management Professional. Thank you for watching.